And we are live here at WAFFLEBOARD Breaks. How's everybody doing? Glad to see that worked. I know some people in the area have had some loss of power. I'm sure internet has been down spotty a little bit today, but the heat wave will do that to you. So hopefully we get this up and running. We'll be able to get the box tonight. Good luck, everybody. We have 40 boxes tonight. Spot prices were set as low as I can for this week's Tuesday and Thursday. So you guys had a good job. Good job, everybody, filling. Missing some of our heavy regulars, and we still were able to get all 40 spots claimed. Thank you, everybody, for jumping in. Obviously, we're missing, Big Al and no Sodic and no Steve S. He just hit recently. He hit the USA 1980 gold medal Ruzioni Craig on the Sunday. So he's actually kind of in a heater. I'm not sure where he's been hitting elsewhere, but so he's one of our most recent hits. Anything else? We got Ryan S., one of our Sunday regulars, hit the Bondras. So the slate's pretty clean for you guys. Nobody is on the books right now as a single hitter so far. So decent crowd tonight because obviously we're missing a bunch of our regulars, and you guys did a good job. James M. Derek is here. Thomas M. Adam R. came in and closed us. See if the closer mojo is real, which we do know it is. Jason R. Carl Z. Thomas M. Jonathan R. from over at Big Al's. Obviously, Big Al's not breaking, I don't think, this week. And see if John R. is able to. He's been hot over there. I've been seeing him hit, especially in the East Coast stuff. John R. has been pretty hot. I'm sure he does. I think he does a lot of football over at Big Al's. Adam is here. Got him already. I said that. Nick F. Matt L. We can see Matt L. back. Dale C.'s got the one spot. He's a loyal Avs fan. Who else? Tim K.'s got a spot. He's over here visiting us from Big Al's as well. Anthony C. is locked in with his spot. Who else we got? We're looking at everybody. It's a decent crowd. Like I said, it's this and G. Thomas and yes, and we don't usually have, like I said, it's like at least 12 or 13 different people without some of our biggies. No Big Al, no Steve S, no Sonic, no Ty. So it's you guys did a good job. It's nice to grab the spots when the spot prices are as low as I can get them, obviously, for these two boxes this week. And then obviously we'll have Sunday's double box, which the spots are now live. So you guys can get your bids in at your leisure over the next 4 or 5 days so we get them on Sunday. But of course, I'll end what hits today and Thursday. So like I said, I like when obviously the odds aren't as great, but of course the spot prices are able to stay pretty palatable across the board. Half the spots were $7 or less, which is pretty cool. I decided not to do anything at 10. Obviously, we usually do a couple $10 spots even for our first Facebook claims. But this week, I was being nice. I decided we're not going to do anything double digits to start. So there was a couple 9s, and a couple 8s, but everything else was pretty much 7 and under, which is as good as I can do for you guys. I appreciate it. We're able to get these breaks filled. It's off season, but it's been pretty crazy. Hope everybody was able to tune in, watch the parade, obviously, this weekend with the Panthers down in Florida, and Fort Lauderdale, I guess is where they were. I don't think they're in Sunrise where the stadium is, and they were downtown. So they were enjoying their Stanley Cup. I didn't watch any of the speeches or anything. I just saw them with some of the buses cruising by. And today we had a Hall of Fame announcements. So it's nice to finally have not able to say possible Hall of Famer Alexander McGillney after 17 years of being eligible. It's nice to see him finally get the nod. He got the call today, I guess 3 a.m. yesterday morning over in Russia, where I'm sure he lives, and he got the call from Eddie McDonald and to tell him that he was now a member of the Hall of Fame after 17 years. He was, like I said, his numbers were pretty fantastic over his career. He changed his style of play. He was 76 goals in 77 games in that same year that Solani got 76 as a rookie, and that was pretty insane because I think only three players in NHL history have scored more than that big haul Lemieux and Gretzky. So, I mean, to have 76 goal season on your resume, plus, he ended up winning, he got a cup late with the Devils. Obviously, his style of play changed over the course of his career, but he was a fantastic player. He was kind of like not aloof, but he's kind of like the same kind of way, Kucherov, the vibe he gives off, where it's almost too easy for him, and when he's out there playing, he makes it look too easy when it's definitely not. And he played at high speed, so it's nice to see Mo finally get in there. We've had Mo in the boxes, but still finally able to say Hall of Famer, Alexander McGillney. Some of the other ones were locks, first year eligibility. We knew Jumbo Joe was getting in. We knew Zdeno Chara was getting in, and Duncan Keith was pretty much a lock. Tudez, Conn Smythe, 2 Norris, 3 Cups. Duncan Keith is the anchor of that Chicago Blackhawks run, and he definitely was getting in. So people are a little upset that Carey Price didn't get in. I don't mind. Everybody's sort of pointed at Henrik and Luongo as cupless goalies. They played obviously in an era with Brodeur, Hasek, and Wah. So then the chances of winning cups are pretty slim. So, but like I said, I mean, obviously Carey Price came along later and he was hurt, but he had his MVP season. But I think Carey Price will probably get the nod. My boy Gonchar didn't get in. I'm still upset about that, but obviously it was a crowded field this year with Botterill on the women's side getting in. That finally, it's so it was a pretty good class. When you get McGillney finally in, along with 2 defensemen and Jumbo Joe, there's not a lot of room for the players like Brendan Moore, who still got to probably get in with his games played in points and now coaching. But as a player, obviously you like to see him get in as a player. But I'm not for against Brendan Moore getting in, but he definitely wants to get in. Cujo, of course, is another one that he played long enough and he put up insane goalie numbers, and I'm interested to see if he finally gets in now that they've let in somebody like Henrik and Luongo, who I think were both better, but Cujo had a longer NHL career and has more numbers. But Cujo, Carey Price would be an interesting discussion. Which of those two should go in. During a lighter year, I think we're probably going to get Gonchar probably in, and probably at least one of those 2 goalies. Maybe even Brendan Moore. We'll see. I'm not sure who's going to be eligible over the next couple of seasons, but have Char go in with Duncan Keith and Jumbo Joe as well as McGillney. It's not like lacking for any star power. There was no kind of borderline guys amongst those 3 or 4 into the Hall this year. So it's going to be interesting. Like I said, it's good to have something hockey to talk about. Obviously, the season's over. The Panthers have repeated. The draft is on the way. We've seen some signings already, some free agent signings, couple, nothing huge yet. Obviously, the Ryan Donato, Seattle Kraken with the first Kraken goal inscriptions in one of the boxes, and he re-signed with Chicago. I was saying that on Sunday, and he signed long term. Obviously, I've heard him talked, and he's always kind of wanted to be there. So he's definitely in Chicago. Long term, he put up some decent numbers. He's a good all-around player for them. So it's good to see him settling in. So he's off the board. He was definitely one of the top 20 free agents. So Martin to Vegas, I mean, they're definitely. I mean, like I said, that's the thing. There's got to be some other pieces to fall into place for some cap room to be made. I think the Rangers are kind of feeling the same way. They're probably going to move some players. Obviously, they're shopping Keandre Miller. It's probably almost a done deal with, 10, 12, 14 teams, have called and asked about him. So I'm not sure what the price is. Jury's going to hold out on him. But you're definitely going to see some dominoes fall, especially as we get closer to the draft because, there's only so many big name free agents out there, and there's only so much money that can be spent, obviously, in a cap world. So it'll be interesting to see how the players, how it falls out. So, like I said, there are some good names out there that are obviously going to change homes. Obviously, Florida's got to figure out what they want to do with Bennett, and Ekblad's probably almost 100% gone, though he wants to stay. But, I think I don't know if they're going to move him and maybe get Carlson from Pittsburgh on the cheap if they can. Like I said, I think Carlson's probably going to be gone from Pittsburgh, and he's not a great all around defenseman, but he definitely can give you some points from the back end. I'm not sure if he fits into Florida's plans, but if they want to replace Ekblad, they got to figure out what their options are going to be. So it's like I said, it's a fun time of year, especially if you're a hockey nut like I am and some of you guys are. So it's I'm not one of those people that follows 600 Twitter feeds and refreshes the NHL.com website on every 15 minutes. But like I said, I check in semi-regularly to see where the stuff goes. If I don't find out till a day or two late, I really don't care. I'm not one of those people that has to have my finger on the pulse of because half you say 85% of your rumors end up being total BS. And like I said, the so many other factors have to go into most of these deals now with a cap, because these general managers have to be able to juggle the dollars. The cap is going to go up, I guess, and they have to factor that into where they're going to sign. And sometimes if you're going to take a player contract from elsewhere, they have to figure out if the other team's going to eat some of the contract. And and then if people they sign is deferred money, like there's only so much they can do with an NHL contract because the cap hit stays the same. So it's there are some big names to be signed. I don't expect my Tampa to have much room to do much in the free agent moves, but like I said, I have faith in Brisbois to make some moves as needed. It looks like they're probably not going to sign Ike Howard, or their pick from a couple years ago. I heard rumors to the Rangers. I don't know how solid that is, but I definitely would like to see them bring back a mobile defenseman, semi-mobile defenseman. You're not going to get anybody that can wheel much, for a top, offensive prospect. But like I said, one of the things they're kind of lacking is that defenseman that has like some mobile skills. Obviously, Hedman is a future Hall of Famer, and he's been their point man for quite some time. But Sergachev was taking it over before they got moved on to Utah. So they really don't have anybody like that. They have a couple guys that have potential, maybe, but I don't think that's a role that they can fill easily. And that's kind of what they're lacking. I said, obviously, when you get to the last 4 or 5 teams in the East, if you don't have that guy in the back line that can make some moves, that's where you got beat by the Floridas and the Carolinas and the even Toronto, and obviously there's the teams in the East. They're pretty stacked. So that the GMs in the East and the head coaches in the East of the top 4 or 5 teams have some pretty sound, not a lot of holes. Obviously, your teams behind them are either too young and still trying to cut their teeth in the playoffs, like Ottawa, the Devils. Those teams are on the rise, but they may have the pieces, but they still have to prove themselves at the playoff level for them to be considered as good as Carolina, so it is Florida. I guess we can put in Toronto, because they're going to pile up points as long as they keep that core together, though it looks like Marner's going to be on the move. So like I said, I'm not sure. Toronto's always going to spend to the max. I guess they got to if they decide to go a different route, their goalie, they've gone cheap with goalies. They have a couple big defensemen, especially with Riley and a couple other guys. So I guess they got to figure out what their game plan is going to be going forward, because they had huge points this year. Obviously, the Caps are another one. Caps, have obviously they're running for the Ovechkin record this year that kind of had them on a high, and I'm not sure if that team is all that good, but they were solid. Like I said, that you're not going to deny the Caps were a solid team, but we'll see if they need to make some moves to kind of tweak things here and there to continue moving into the playoffs. So, it's like I said, it's the offseason is a whole nother season. The Hughes Bros, the Hughes Bros got to stay healthy. Obviously, that's even including Quinn out in Vancouver, but obviously the Hughes in New Jersey, obviously with Luke and the maid Hughes. So the Hughes have to come. The Hughes have to be. Jack has got to be. He's got to be. Has to take the next steps. So that's why I think, to me, the Devils and Ottawa. I would almost. Like I said, I would. I'm not sure if I'd rather be them and Tampa. Obviously, Tampa has 2 cups and another finals appearance, and is still a contender every year. But they want to get past like a team like Tampa, because if they can't get past a team like Tampa, they're never going to be able to beat the teams like Carolina and Florida and maybe Washington and Toronto. So those 4, at the top. Then you have, like you said, you got teams like Columbus. The East has got some. I mean, then you have the teams like Boston, always looking to rebuild and make runs. The Islanders aren't that close. I mean, so they're not much of a threat. But like I said, the teams in the East, the top teams are pretty almost in stone. Like I said, unless something goes bad, season-ending injuries. But like I said, it's there's only so many moves you can make. Like I said, Brisbois with Tampa is definitely, proven to be a master of making the smallest possible moves here and there. Obviously, a big splash was, you had to let Stamkos walk, and then he signed Gensel for the same amount of money, pretty much, but he's a much younger player, and his productions warranted that. He fit right in with Tampa's, top lines and power play. So, I mean, like I said, we'll see if obviously they still have moves to make. No team is perfect. I mean, even Florida, they were pretty banged up towards the end, but they were clicking on as many cylinders as you could have after, a 30-something game playoff run. So it's like I said, the offseason is just as entertaining to me as the regular season. Till you wait for bombshells to drop. There's going to be some dominoes to fall before the moves start to flow. And with the draft coming, we have pretty much an idea of the first and second picks, but after that, it's pretty much, franchise's choice, because there's a lot of good players in the top 8 or so picks forward wise. It's just a matter of a team wants, somebody with little question marks, but has skill and size. They want somebody with big numbers, but it's a little smaller. I mean, that's what your team's looking at. You want, like I said, everybody compares, Frendell to Barkov, and, that's kind of unfair because Barkov is, 2 times Stanley Cup captain, Selke Trophy winning. Like, I don't know if you can throw that onto a guy, coming into the top 5, top 4 picks and saying he's Barkov. But like I said, I mean, the same thing with, I think, one of the players that comparing him, I think Caleb Desnoyers, they talking about Jonathan Taves. Like, it's tough to throw Jonathan Taves' name out because he was much more than his numbers. He was everything about his game is what Jonathan Taves was. And it's good to see he kind of begged almost to get a contract from his hometown area, Winnipeg. And you're looking at the way his contract is structured. It's like $500,000, and then there's like benchmarks every couple of games where he gets 500 more grand, and then obviously in the playoffs he gets a certain amount when they go certain rounds. So it's pretty interesting how he has almost like an escalator contract, because they don't have tons of room in Winnipeg, and obviously he wants to play. And if he's healthy enough to play, I mean, of course he wants to go home and play in front of his friends and fam. So it's kind of cool. It's good to see Jonathan Taves back in the league. That's something that you don't mind seeing. I mean, same thing was Landeskog. I mean, it was good to see Landeskog back in the league. I mean, obviously you don't want these guys to play if they're not, at least 90-95% of what they were. So yeah, we'll take him, I guess. Like I said, it's when I tell you, I said Winnipeg, if Taves wants to, I don't think Taves is going to replace. I mean, I guess they're hoping Taves will get Ehlers to sign, because Ehlers, it's just tough to cut his numbers out, because Ehlers is one of those guys that gives you kind of everything you need, and without being top 2 or 3 player in a team. I mean, he's not Scheifele's numbers, he's not Connor's numbers, but you need. I mean, he's not the young kids. They got good young players. Perfetti, like I said, I mean, they have solid young players, but Ehlers is the kind of guy that does everything. You drop him on your second or third line, he scores. You defend. I mean, I think they want to have Taves come in and kind of convince Ehlers to take maybe some hometown discount. I mean, if Ehlers is looking to price himself out of Winnipeg, that'd be a shame. Like I said, I have a soft spot for Winnipeg just because I love watching Scheifele and Connor, and obviously Hellebuck is still the best American goalie. I mean, obviously you can say Otter is in the same breath, but I think Hellebuck is the man, especially with the Olympics coming. So I mean, like I said, I mean, I root for Winnipeg. I mean, Morrissey is the man. I mean, their defense doesn't have tons of huge offense after him, but I think, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I agree, Hellebuck. I thought, I mean, obviously, because his regular season this year was so insane. Obviously, he got the Hart Trophy. That's the kind of season it was. It was a Carey Price kind of year. Like that's the kind of season he had. Like, I just think, I mean, and he's not even a one of, like, I mean, he's won now 3 Vezinas. So it wasn't like he had that, out of nowhere, goalie season that people were like, oh, shocked, because he just puts up numbers. He was putting up wins. He was putting up shutouts. And, like, when he was on. And then, like, the playoffs started, it was like he was a different goalie. They were beating him from everywhere, like beating him to the glove, beating him like stick side. Like, you can't play like that. Like, playoffs, you have to be better. Like, I mean, that's possible. And, like, I'm waiting for Hellebuck to hit that. And I'm like, I just think, I mean, Winnipeg had a great year. They had huge numbers. They were one of the best teams in the league. And then for them to kind of fall flat because Hellebuck just couldn't keep the puck out of his net. That just bothers me. Like I said, I have a soft spot for them. Like I would always love to see them come out of the West if they can. Obviously, Colorado a couple years ago, they bounced them early, and then obviously with Edmonton making runs 2 straight years. And this is after Vegas having won their cups. I mean, that's and then the Kings before that. So like they're right there. I mean, as a team, they put up regular season numbers. It'd be nice to see them, get deep into the playoffs. But obviously, when you have the best goalie, technically the best goalie in the league, he's got to make some noise in the playoffs. Like, I mean, would I take him over or my boy Vasilevsky? No, because Vasilevsky's got a Vezina or 2 Vezinas, and he's got the Conn Smythe. But at the same time, I mean, that's the kind of numbers you need, those kind of production in the playoffs from Hellebuck, and we've seen in the regular season. So we'll see. Like I said, I'm not done with him yet. I mean, he's still one of the best goalies, and this year he's the best goalie, including he's the MVP of the league, basically. So we'll see if they can keep their core together enough. I would hate to see them lose Ehlers and try to have to replace that and his numbers, because Taves is not going to give you that. Taves is going to give you everything, but I don't think he's going to give you Ehlers numbers. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, they got a great young team with a couple guys, that can score on their team. We'd like to see some good young defensemen come up, and they've drafted some good young guys, but they're not close enough to be ready for the show. But we shall see with them. So, like I said, just the one box tonight. Thank you, everybody, for the fill. I said I know it can be a little longer, of course, with the reload, and we haven't been at 40 boxes on a Facebook claim in, I don't know, more than 6 months. I mean, it's been a long time since we got up to 40 boxes for the first Facebook claim. That's why I kept the spot prices low. Of course, same spot prices for Thursday, so we'll get back at it. So hopefully you guys can come back and we'll do it again. If we have more rumors and more trades to talk about, we'll definitely look forward to that. But let's go. Let's go. Adam Mars with the closer mojo. We know it exists, so we'll see if he's able to use that to his advantage. Let me get my list up here. Let's get going. Okay, let's go. All the boxes are there in front of us. We got. Let's see. Let me close this here. We got 6, 5, 11. We got 15 on the side shelves. 15 over here. Of course, we got 25 of them on the table in front of us. 24 and then 1 extra. 25. So good luck. I should have stole Kaprizov. You know what? I mean, he's an amazing player, and that's what they're talking. That's the comparison, the comps I'm seeing for the Michael Misa and the number 2 overall pick. They're talking, possible Kaprizov type numbers, and that'd be huge. Obviously, he's probably going to be number 2 overall pick. I believe that's San Jose. So it's like it probably, because the Islanders are going to go to defenseman Schaefer, and then San Jose is going to take another powerful forward to add to that team. And San Jose is making some noise. We'll see if Askarov, who they got from Nashville, turns out to be the real deal, prime goalie. that's going to go a long way to making that team, playoff contender in the West. Because Celebrini was absolutely amazing. I love Will Smith. They still got some good young players in that team. So we'll see if San Jose takes those baby steps toward being a playoff contender. But talking Kaprizov for me, something like that's a little elevated. I mean, Kaprizov was fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if they could have pried him away, but he's definitely a mini to stay. They're trying to work around him right now. So let's get our randoms up here. There's our dice. Okay. Okay. Okay, all the boxes are here in order. 60, our oldest from last year. And then a couple from February, a couple from March. Then we go April's, May's, and now we do 2 reloads, but technically in June. So the last one was a real June relay, and the newest to the June relay, all the way up to 32. So obviously we hit 22 hits, and we skipped 30. So those are the ones that are missing from the run. So 5 or more, of course, on our dice roll. We'll see what we got tonight. Good luck, everybody. Good crowd. So missing somewhere heavy, so it's the time for you guys to shine. So good luck. 5 or more. We got 6. 6 times it is. We had 11 and 12, I think. There are 12 and 11. There's a bunch. Just 6 times tonight. So here we go. 6 times. Everybody, good luck. Let's see what we got. 1. 40 boxes. 2. Just like that, we'll be down into the 30s. 39 boxes for Thursday. 4. 5. The box we're going to open tonight is going to be box number 10. 10 is in the reload. 10. 6 times. Box number 10. There it is. Ooh. Okay. Let me make sure that off of here. Update my lists. 10 it is. So this box survived 2 breaks and then comes out tonight. Okay, go. Box number 10. Oh, wasn't? This is not a reload. Oh, okay. I thought it was. This is actually the last box before the reload. There we go. Oh, okay. That would have been confusing if I opened it up and I'm like, it's not from this reload. Of course, it's got the tape on it. So make sure stacks nice and even. Okay. 24 now on the table. 15 on the shelves. Box number 10. Okay. Okie dokies. Okay. Let me get my list. Okay, let me see what we got here. 9 boxes, got 8 different owners. Okay, here we go. Good luck, everybody. Box number 10. Like I said, 39 boxes for Thursday. I will throw the spot price preview up before I'm done tonight. Of course, boxes spots are live on eBay for Sunday's double box, the second double box since the reload. We'll have 38 spots. Will be on eBay. I'll be ending today's, of course, whatever hits on Thursday. So good luck. Here we go. Box 10. You know what? And a man The man complains. He actually, this is his third hit. This is an absolute amazing jersey. This is Rob Blake All-Star Game jersey, CCM, from the game played in Minnesota. So he has the green Minnesota colors, but it's got the Avs patch. It's got the All-Star Game patch. This is a monster. Boom. The only thing is this does not have a COA, but I have a Blake in my PC, and it's definitely, this is actually a nicer autograph than my PC Blake. This is Rob Blake, Hall of Famer, Stanley Cup champion, Norris Trophy winner. Look at that, Rob Blake sig. In the 4, this is amazing. All-Star Game, Minnesota, 2004. Got the, everything about it. The Easter eggs with the, everything about that logo. And the Avs, there it is. This is amazing. Western Conference All-Star jersey, CCM, absolutely amazing. Look at that. Obviously, it's just a rep. There's no fight strap on the reps. But with the stars, nice stitch stars on the hem. Obviously, with the NHL logo on the front. There it is. Absolutely beautiful. Made in Canada, XL, CCM, obviously from 2004. Woo! Amazing. Couldn't wait for this one to show up. Absolutely beautiful Western Conference All-Star Rob Blake. Look at that. Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Stunning. Seeing that one out in the air again. Like I said, when I had it, I didn't want to box it up. Such a pretty jersey. Rob Blake. The SIG. Rob Blake. Number 4. Hall of Famer. Big time hits. Congratulations. And that goes to Dale C. Dale C. So he kept quitting. He wants to quit breaking. Dale C. with the Rob Blake. Fantastic, amazing hit. Congratulations. Sorry, of course, for everybody that did not hit. Look at that, beautiful with the NHL logo on the hem as well. CCM on the, just on the, just on the top middle, CCM. There we go. Rob Blake, 2004 All-Star Game, played in Minnesota. Just an absolute stunning jersey, man. Just a beautiful. Like I said, I'm not an All-Star jersey collector, so I don't mind grabbing them from you guys because I love putting them in the boxes because, like I said, I'm not even jealous when they hit because I know they're just absolutely beautiful and you guys like to chase them. So unbelievable, especially with the patches. The current ones, you see a lot of them when they get signed in mass, they don't have the team patches. So it's, you got to go back to the CCMs, and I think probably the Reeboks sometimes that's when they kind of started taking and not filling them. So I guess when this jersey got made up as an Avs All-Star Game jersey, now they do them. They just basically put them together and they get them signed in mass, or they just sign the numbers and they just put them on a All-Star Game jersey with the name. They don't even, majority of the time, they don't even go with the patch on the sleeve. So congratulations to that one. Absolutely stunning. Thank you, everybody, for being involved, and I look forward to seeing everybody back here on Thursday. Hopefully we can do some magic again. Absolute stunning. Rob Blake. Love him. Hall of Fame, superstar defenseman, Los Angeles Kings, Stanley Cup champion with the Colorado Avalanche. There we go. Rob Blake. There's the magic. So thank you much, everybody. WAFFLEBOARD breaks. Look forward to seeing you guys on Thursday. Enjoy your next day or two. Talk to you soon.